Okay, we was asked a question. It was asked about YHWH was a response given to Moses when he spoke to the burning bush. Now, how is this translated in the Amharic Bible? Which is a good question, but first of all, you heard that the Tetragrammaton is unholy satanic, and this was some question that came in from one of the viewers, Mr. Material. So our response was that YHWH, it means I am that which I am. This is what means actually I am that which I am. It's YHWH, what was said in Exodus 3 and 14. As we have been teaching for many years, Yahweh, or the Yod-He, Wow-He, or Yod-He, Wow-He, or Yod-He, Vav-He, does not mean I am that I am. But still, a lot of folks, they will go off and say, yes, it means that. And they, a lot of these Christian, so-called Jewish material is very dubious. That's why you have to go into the languages for yourself. So Yahweh, or the YHWH, does not mean I am that I am. It's really the Ahya, or the Ahya Shara Ahya, or the Ahya Asher Ahya. Now, it actually means Yahweh. Yahweh means he who is who he is, or more correctly from the Ethiopic code, he, the living one, the one who causes life, is the living one who causes to live or causes life. Now, as far as the Yod-He, Wow-He, or the Tetragrammaton being satanic, well, that's a crock right there. It's a Satanist rumor and lie that's being pushed. Now, the Tetragrammaton, this whole characterization of it, as the Tetragrammaton means the four letters, but as we explained in other lectures, there's actually a Trigrammaton, Yahweh, without the final Hey, and there's also a Bigrammaton, or the Yod and the Hey, Yah, which is Yah, and then also there's a Unigrammaton, or a Unigram, which is Yah. That's a little bit more, that's like advanced Ethiopic metaphysical Torah Bible studies. But now the name, the Tetragrammaton, is a Greek name. So there's a lot of loss in translation, like there's a lot of lost ones who are lost in translation. Now, maybe that's where the Satanism crept in through the Greeks, because the Greeks were very childish, you understand, on the metaphysics. And many of the early Christian writers like Clement of Alexandria and others, they bore witness and they testified to the childishness of the Greek mind. You understand? So now Tetragrammaton becomes a replacement through the Greek teaching, through the Eurocentric teaching, for what the YHWH, and then a lot of things creep in from there. But when we go to the Hebrew, or the Ibrahist, or the ancient Ethiopic, the name is the best descriptor of the true God. When we want to get this word God, now also we have to address this word God, and good is actually more evil. God and good is more evil than so-called YHWH, because the name God is not even Hebrew. And in Hebrew, the word God, when we go to Isaiah the prophet, it actually means a false idol that's known as Fortuna. You understand? Like fortune favors the brave. You probably hear these sayings, these Latin-based sayings. Now, Isaiah condemned God. Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah, condemned the God, or God, the good, which is the false idol of the heathen, or the Goyim, that some Israelites, really many Israelites, had worshipped and then lost their very souls, lost their very way, and got trapped, you understand, in Satan's matrix. Now, when we are speaking English, the words Lord and God are actually far more evil and corrupt than the so-called YHWH. So that lie that's going around about the YHWH being satanic, and some people trying to strain their eye at a gnat and trying to find Satanism, is all a part of the loss and mistranslation and the misappropriation of our culture, our stolen legacy. Now, the problem is that they know, or at least have a good idea as to what it really means, because it's the Ethiopic that has the true ancient biblical Hebrew keys, or it's the Ethiopic, or the good is, that cracks the code. So this is just a quick answer response about the Ehya Shara Ehya, or the Ehya Asher Ehya. And is Asher like Ashe in West Africa, in the Yoruba culture? Is there some connection between Asher, like the tribe, and the part of speech in the Hebrew, Asher and Ashe. It's a very key, interesting thing, and something watching one of these videos, I think Bobby Hemmett doing libations, it kind of came to me, that connection and link, because since Ehya means I am, or I, the living one, I, the one who exists now, the one who is being, am, Asher, Ehya. So Ashe is said when certain so-called deities or ancestors are mentioned in certain West African libations in the very same metaphysical scientific way, or according to the so-called science and the scientia, Greek word, actually Latin word, scientia. In the Greek they say gnosis or gnosis. In the Latin, scientia means knowledge. So when we talk about do the knowledge or do the science, science is knowledge, so that means knowing, and what we need is the full knowledge of it. So there's a partial interpolation that's taken as a full knowledge when they say Yahweh means the I am that I am. These are non-Hebrew speakers and non-Ethiopic students who are looking into the English, and from an English perspective, which is another way of lost in translation, because look at this, they keep Abraham's name in there, they keep other people's names in there, and place names in there, and other kind of names in there of people and places, but they take the name of the Most High, and when they do put it in the King James Bible, they put it in a Germanic misinterpretation, adding a V sound to a Y sound because of the German, European, and Ashkenazi lisp. This is why they pervert many of the letters, and the modern Hebrew is really a perversion from the true ancient Shemitic or Ethiopic roots. So just to wrap up and summarize, it's Ehya or Ahya, Asher Ahya, which means I am, I in the sense of I, the one who exists, I, the one who lives, am the one who is living. This is what Yahweh described himself to Moses, to Moses, as. Now when Moses went to the people, he was told to tell them that the Ehya, I who the one who is. So when Moses representing him didn't say, well, I am that one, because they'll say, Moses, you're crazy. You say you spoke to the God of the Hebrews. Now you're saying you are the God of the Hebrews, but you know what I mean? So he didn't go that way. Instead of saying Ehya, he said Yah, which according to the Hebraic logic, once we have those Ethiopic keys, it makes perfect sense. But when you're coming from a Gentile Western misunderstanding, you know, the fools who don't know Hebrew, true biblical Hebrew, because they can't know true biblical Hebrew, they can't learn true biblical Hebrew from the Ashkenazis, you understand? Only the ones who have been dabbling with the Ethiopic, but not telling ones, well, the reason that they're able to read this biblical Hebrew that's not their own language and to claim it as their own is because the Ethiopic or the Ge'ez being truly a living language. This is another trick they play on you. They say that Ethiopic is a dead language, but actually it's a living language. You see, so when you hear the fools say Ethiopic is a dead language, but yet it's still a living language. You see, so it's a mind trick, a distraction that they play with you. But this is very key because there's been ones and ones, some of the subscribers asking certain questions and even making certain statements which really has to be addressed. Like, for example, Fat Stacks briefly have responded to Mr. Material, Psalm 68:4, sing to the Almighty, sing praises to his name, extol him that rideth on the heavens by his name, Yah. Now, if you look in some other European English translations, it says, him who rides through the deserts. While it says him who ride upon the heavens, so which is it? Is it the heavens or deserts? Or what's the connection with the deserts and heavens? Is riding through the deserts, creating these clouds, just like the old mythology of Re, or as a Ra, traveling, or the sun traveling through the heavens. But you know there's more than one sun too. There's the Heres sun, there's the Shamesh, and there's Heres. Heres is the metaphorical sun, which is the part of the mysteries or the Tibeb, the wisdom school teachings. But there was a response that was put there, and it says, many of the Hebrew prophets they carry the name Yah, and this is now after. What's key about this is during the time and right after, during the time of the apostasy, after the Solomonic time, apostasy time, and then after exile, we find that Yah becomes attached to many of the names. But there are many prophets such as Obadiah, servant of the one he who is the living one, of Yah. Zechariah, the remembrance of the one who is the living one. Yeshayahu, the salvation, the Shua, Shaya of the one who is alive, one's living one. Zephaniah, that Yah, the living one, either hides or the hiding of he who is the living one. And then there's the phrase, hallelujah. And remember, Yah here is either, depends on which particular scroll you're looking at, either it's a bigrammaton or it's a unigram. One means praises to the one who is the living one.